Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
So I wanted, before we get started, to let everyone know that I have a new podcast out, and it's called Meditations. If you like the Meditations segment of this current podcast, you'll like the Meditations podcast. It's nothing but 20 minutes of meditative sounds. And now, on with the podcast.
Americans love scenery. We want to see it all, from one coast to the next, Mount Rushmore down to the Everglades. So hop into a Chevy Malibu and take the scenic route. It's the car you knew America could build. There's a place where people count on friendships they can trace back generations, where they can count on the same stool at the coffee shop waiting for them every morning. This place is called Glen Ellen, and you can find it in every bottle of Glen Ellen wine. This is craft brewed Herman Joseph's, the smoothest, easiest drinking specialty beer in the entire solar system. And I believe you'll find drinkable in the dictionary right after don't order a beer you can't drink. Zoingo! Boingo! The freestyle pogo with more boing, more bounce. Bounce further, bounce higher with Zoingo Boingo. To see what makes Arrowhead Mountain Spring water different from those other waters, you have to go back to the source. And with Arrowhead, that means going back a little farther and longer than most. Between security challenged and security strengthened, there's one important word: how. And it is the how that makes all the difference to our nation and our world. Lockheed Martin. We never forget who we're working for. What makes Kraft singles so good? 2 out of every 3 kids don't get the recommended amount of calcium. But with Kraft singles, they get a good source of calcium and the taste they love. Kraft singles. Magic every single time. Throw boring overboard with a new real meal from Long John Silver's. A meal worthy of a plate, just $4.99. Only at Long John Silver's. We may not all be geniuses, but we can all do something smart. Introducing the Hyundai 199 Sonata lease. It's a smart deal on a really smart car.
Dude, I saw a comment on one of my videos. Some random person said, "Why does the comedian have such low knees?"
Good morning. It's Tuesday, Trump Tuesday, June the 24th, and this is The True Conservative. Welcome to all the butchers, bakers, and candlestick makers out there. I'm Ron, your host, and the only true conservative in the United States today. So today, after the Serenity Prayer and the patriotic song of the day, we will have the headlines, patriotic shorts, motivation, Bishop Barron, Ayn Rand, and Donald Trump. All that and more when I get back. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I should not change, the courage to change the things I should, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. Thank you. Now the headlines for Tuesday, June the 24th. Armed churchgoers stop a mass shooting before it even starts. Press Secretary Leavitt, CNN, and Senator Schumer have retracted their fake stories about the Trump admin not reaching out to them before striking the Iran nuclear sites. Turns out both Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries were called. Jeffries didn't pick up. Earlier today, a man suspected of shoplifting in a Houston, Texas mall was running from the police when he jumped over the third-floor railing and broke both of his legs upon impacting the ice rink below. California's one-gun-a-month law is unconstitutional, court affirms. Republican lawmakers have drafted legislation to end California's sanctuary laws. Huntington Beach Senator Tony Strickland says doing away with sanctuary city laws would allow ICE to work with local and state authorities. And congressmen to wear barcodes so lobbyists can self-check out. And those are the headlines for Tuesday, June the 24th. Back in a minute. Thank you. Now, the political corner.
Where you at? 113, you in here? 113, where you at? 113, you in here? 113. Yo, 113, where you? 113, you in there? After all that bullshit y'all been talking, Trump's gonna start World War III. Iran shot off 15 missiles, and ain't none of them hit the ground. And motherfucking Trump, just like India and Pakistan, done broken a ceasefire. I'm just saying, where's that Nobel Peace Prize? Again, Trump ain't nothing to fuck with. I don't care how much you hate him. I don't care how much you supposed MAGAs turn your back on him. My president's the shit. Y'all better know that.
And that was the political corner. Back in a minute. Thank you. Now, the Patriotic Short.
Why are U.S. soldiers better than European soldiers? In Afghanistan, there was a common European saying, "You better pray that you have an American in your unit." It's quite interesting why Europeans wanted to have Americans on their team. A French soldier wrote about his extraordinary experience with American soldiers in Afghanistan. Americans were taller and stronger than Europeans. The average American soldier is strong, very strong. In our base, the weakest American was stronger than the strongest soldier in the French units, and was also stronger than most other European soldiers. Also, every European unit has that one person who is just a waste of air, the general screw-up of the unit. With the Americans, you could not find the general screw-up. Americans had a unique way of making the best out of average. Their basic training is the best in the world. But when bullets started flying and your unit was in trouble, you prayed that an American unit took up the radio call for help. Why? When American forces picked up the call, there was no hesitation. Their reply was, "Sit tight, we are coming to get you." And they meant every single word. There wasn't any haggling or logistical issues. The Americans would use everything they had for your rescue, and then some more. The Americans were truly fully committed to your rescue. They came regardless of what the situation was, no matter how bad or how unusual. In fact, they wouldn't ask about your situation. They heard you needed rescue, and that was all that mattered. They did not need to ask about the situation anyway. With the best gear, satellites, and training, when they got close to your position, they knew about threats in the area, where the unfriendliest were, and how best to deal with the situation. Surprisingly, they knew it even better than the actual unit under fire. He also described one amazing fact. In all other forces, if an officer was taken out, you're taught to dig in and take a defensive position or simply retreat, not the Americans. If Americans lose their officer, they do not stop. They go on the attack. With every fiber of their bodies, Americans want or even need revenge. Most of the time, American officers restrain the troops under their command, not for the troops' protection, but for the enemy's. If you injure an American, they are coming for you, and very little will save you. The medical training also sets Americans apart. Every American soldier seems to have advanced first aid skills that European forces reserve for their medics. A British sergeant recalled how an American private saved his life. "I was hit by shrapnel in my leg when this young American appeared from nowhere. He had a tourniquet on me in seconds and was administering battlefield medicine that our own medics would struggle with, all while maintaining security and calling in support. Just a regular infantryman doing what was apparently standard for them." The most telling difference was how local Afghans reacted to different forces. Village elders could immediately tell the difference difference between American and European patrols. When Americans entered a village, the atmosphere changed. As one interpreter explained, the combatants fear Americans. Europeans they will attack if they can get an advantage. Americans they avoid completely. The villagers know this, because even the combatants think twice. This reputation wasn't built on brutality, but effectiveness.
And that was the Patriotic Short. Back in a minute. Thank you. And now, motivation.
The decisions you make every day actually matter. When the alarm goes off in the morning, do you get up or do you hit the snooze and sleep more? When it's time to work out, do you get it done or make excuses to skip it? When you're supposed to do the work you know you need to do you do it? Or do you let it slide and regret it later? Every decision you make every single day matters. The easy choice makes life hard. The hard choice makes life easy. If you're gonna make it, you gotta be willing to work like hell, because there's someone out there who wants your spot.
You're not the only one trying to get that job. You're not the only one who wants to go to the NBA. You're not the only one trying to go to the NFL. So whatever your competitor's doing, you got to be willing to do 1 more, 10 more, 100 more reps than them, going further, pushing harder. You got to outwork, outmaneuver, outsmart, and outgrind every single one of these people who come up against you.
You become relentless. You decide within yourself that you won't stop for anything. And you become laser focused on that goal, on that dream, on that mission. Anything that doesn't support the direction of where you're trying to get to, you reject it. Remove it from your field of vision.
What you're striving for is too valuable to allow petty, insignificant distractions to pull you off course. Because the more you can narrow your focus into that thing you want, the more you'll find ways of succeeding.
You'll find new breakthroughs, new methods of executing, new ways of refining your craft.
And all the average motherfuckers won't understand why you're so driven, why you're so obsessed, why you can't take breaks, why you can't go party with them. They'll never understand it because they don't have what it takes to create greatness. Greatness isn't a one-off event. Greatness is a lifestyle. You have to work for it every single fucking day of your life and never stop, never quit.
When you're faced with a tough decision, ask yourself, what would the best version of me do right now? The best version of you is the one who is disciplined, focused, relentless. They're the one who never gives up on their dreams. Even when things are tough, even when everything in you is telling you to stop, they're the one who is willing to sacrifice everything in order to achieve their goals.
You have to have the mentality of an unstoppable machine. A machine that will never accept anything less than success.
It's that mentality that says to the world, you've got to take my life before you can ever take my drive. That mentality that says, I will go through any level of pain, suffering, discomfort for as long as it fucking takes. I'll do whatever it takes in order to succeed. I will not stop, no matter what.
You want to make your dreams a fucking reality? You want to rise above the sea of mediocrity that drowns most people's ambitions? Well, you better be ready to put in the kind of work that makes sweat pour, muscles ache, and your mind scream for mercy. It's not about half-assing it. It's about going all fucking in. When you decide to work like hell, you're not just signing up for the easy days. You're signing up for the grind, the late nights, and the early mornings. You're signing up for the that separates the winners from the whiners. So lace up them boots, tighten that grip, and charge into the battlefield of life like a relentless warrior. Because success doesn't give a shit about excuses or half measures. It rewards the ones who say, I will conquer this shit no matter what.
You don't just dip your toes in. You dive in head first and let that dream consume you like a fucking wildfire. You gotta eat it, breathe it, and sleep with that shit on your mind. Your competitors, they're sleeping while you're working. They're partying while you're grinding. They're making excuses while you're making progress, making moves, and making shit happen. It's not enough.
And that was a little bit of motivation. Back in a minute. Thank you. Now, a little meditation. And that was a little bit of meditation. Back in a minute. And now, the Daily Stoic.
Human beings, we all breathe the atoms that made up our ancestors and flow into the same earth when we die. Over and over again, the Stoics reminded themselves of the interconnectedness of life. Perhaps that was because life in Greece and Rome was particularly harsh. Animals and people were slaughtered senselessly to amuse the masses in the Colosseum, events lamented in the Stoic writings. Countries were conquered and its citizens sold into slavery to expand the empire, the futility of which the Stoics also lamented. This kind of cruelty is possible only when we forget how we're related to our fellow human beings and the environment. Today, take a moment to remember that we are woven together and that each of us plays a role, good, bad, or ugly, in this world.
And that was the Daily Stoic. And now, His Excellency, Bishop Robert Barron.
Why is there something rather than nothing? It's an ancient perennial question. The point I'd like to make is it's a properly philosophical question. It's not a scientific question, not a question that can be adjudicated by physics, chemistry, or astronomy, because they're always looking at events and objects and measurable states of affairs within a finite contingent system. And that's fine. That's what the sciences are built to do. But when you ask the question we just asked, that's not a deeper level scientific question. It's a different type of question that takes you out of the epistemological framework of the sciences and introduces you to a higher epistemological framework. One of the problems we face is scientism. One of its dimensions is a tendency to see philosophy as primitive science. They wish they could do real science. What they're doing is some kind of underdeveloped science. No, what they're doing is something qualitatively different than what the sciences do. The collapsing of all the epistemic orders into the scientific is one of the marks, negative marks of our time.
And that was His Excellency, Bishop Robert Barron. And now, the Ayn Rand thought of the day. Quote, if concern with poverty and human suffering were the collectivists' motive, they would have become champions of capitalism long ago. They would have discovered that it is the only political system capable of producing abundance. Unquote. And that was Ayn Rand from the chapter The Anti-Industrial Revolution from the book Return of the Primitive. Back in a minute. Thank you. And now, psychopathy.
When you're dealing with a psychopath, if you just do these two things, there's a whole long list I could give you, but if you just get these two right, you'll be good. You'll be good to go. So the first one is, I'm going to be more calm than that person in every interaction.
Yeah.
I will never escalate anything. All right? And the second one is, I will be non-reactive. So even if they say something shocking, my eyebrows aren't going to go up. I'll say, oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I will be as non-reactive as humanly possible. When you're looking at any conversation, even if it's not with a sociopath, the person reacting the least to the other person is in charge.
Mm-hmm.
So in that situation, and I encourage people all the time, never, ever, ever view the world in terms of hierarchy. It will make you fail every time because you're constantly worried about external validation. So the mistake you make in dealing with sociopaths is, am I above them? Are they above me right now? Am I being subordinated? All of those. That's all concern for hierarchy, and we have to get rid of it. Am I calm? And am I the calmest person in the room? Am I non-reactive? This is all internal. I'm in control of me only, and I'm only worried about those two things. I'm non-reactive because they feed on those emotional reactions. So they start to realize that this fishing spot's not working.
And he's wrong, first of all, about hierarchy. Hierarchy is protean. It cannot be created or destroyed. You can only change its form. Hierarchy is everywhere. It's in the family, in business. Everywhere you go, there's hierarchy, and there's nothing you can do about it except, like I said, change the form. Back in a minute. Thank you. Now, the end of Maria and beginning of Stu.
Street for a Tuesday. Markets are up 274 right now in the Dow. Final thoughts, Cheryl.
Take another victory lap on your comments yesterday, Maria. You were right about the market's reaction to what we saw over the weekend with that strike against Iran. My other final thought, though, New York, go out. It's going to be 102 degrees. Get some water, wear some thin clothing, and please go vote. And think before you cast your ballot.
The primaries in New York. Your thoughts, Tiffany?
Yeah, so I was talking to an intel officer last night, and he was talking about just the precision, the lethality, the amazing operation that Donald Trump pulled off with our military. We didn't just take out Iran's nuclear sites. It was also a cast out to evil regimes around the country, or around the world, around the world.
Right.
So it's going to be a catalyst for such good change and good for America and the world.
The commander-in-chief sending messages there. Mark.
Physicians in residency who are saving people's lives make $60 to $70 grand a year. Air traffic control trainees make $42,000 a year keeping our skies safe. But the minimum wage for hotel workers in L.A., $62,000 a year. Makes a lot of sense, huh?
Are you sure? Wow, that's incredible.
Isn't that wild?
That is wild.
Yeah.
We got to look at that. Mark Tepper, Tiffany Smiley, Cheryl Pisoni, great show. Thank you. See you tomorrow, everybody. Have a great day. Varney and Company picked it up. Stu, take it away.
Good morning, Maria, and good morning, everyone.
Thank you.
Fast-moving developments in the Mideast. Iran fired missiles at Israel right after the ceasefire was agreed. Israel launched a counterattack. The ceasefire appeared to have been violated. The president, not happy. At 7:28 this morning, he went on Truth Social saying, in part, Israel is not going to attack Iran. All planes will turn around and head home while doing a friendly plane wave to Iran, end quote. The market stayed in rally mode. Investors seem confident that the ceasefire will hold and a degree of peace will come to the Gulf region. Look at the green. The Dow up 278. That is about 2/3 of 1%. The Nasdaq is up almost 1%, a gain of 214 points. That is pre-market. Big gains yesterday, repeated this morning. Now here's a key number. It's the price of oil. The sell-off continues. You're down to $66 a barrel, down from $77 just 48 hours ago. That downside move in oil should cool inflation. Gold, down again. That is a barometer of anxiety. It's holding just above $3,300 an ounce, down $60 today. Bitcoin, not that much change, looking at 105.2. That's your price at the moment. Interest rates, the 10-year Treasury yield down to 4.35%, and the 2-year, the yield there is 3.85. Let's sum up the financial markets on this Tuesday morning. Oil down, gold down, stocks up. On the show today, the president is now on his way to the NATO summit in Europe. He's demanding a big increase in defense spending. Sometimes it seems like our president is running the world. In New York, a mayoral election primary with national implications. One candidate is surging at the last minute, Zoran Mambani. He's a socialist. His candidacy is a test of support for the far left. He's also a Muslim who's made inflammatory anti-Israel statements. His candidacy is a test of anti-Israel sentiment. His election brings anti-Semitism, if he were elected, brings it back into the New York headlines. Tuesday, June the 24th, 2025.
And that was Stuart Varney and Company. And then he says that with regards to the markets, that gold is down, oil is down, and stocks are up. What he should have said was Jamie Dimon is selling oil, selling gold, and buying stocks. But he keeps lying to people by pretending that the markets are autonomous and that they just move automatically with the news or the news cycle. Shame on him. Non-profit news now. Back in a minute. Thank you. Now the preamble to the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Back in a minute. Thank you. Now on this is a Maria Bartiromo, and it's one of her flunkies in the field, and it's an issue about saving a farm.
It has been in Andy Henry's family for 175 years, and Andy, you say, don't do it.
No, don't do it. I mean, this place is important to us. It's the last family farm east of Route 130 in Cranberry. And as you mentioned, it's been ours since 1850.
You were born in that house back there. If you can see, I don't know if you can see it, Dan. That house back there. Oh. You were born in that house.
Oh, my mother was.
Your mother was born in that house.
And
you grew up in that house.
Correct.
Incredible.
Yeah.
The reason, Maria, the city says is there's something called the Mount Laurel Doctrine. It has basically enshrined a constitutional protection for affordable housing, and it says that you've got to build affordable housing in every community in New Jersey that doesn't have it. And the town says they don't really want to take this farm, but it's the only place they can build on. You say, no, that's not true.
Okay, so he's starting this out. The whole tenor or tone of this clip or whatever is wrong. He's doing this from the standpoint of pity. He's immediately appealing to people's sense of pity. Feel sorry for this guy. It's a family farm. It's been in his family for 100 million years. His mother was born in the house that's on the property. Feel sorry for him. Feel sorry for him. That's wrong. They shouldn't go at it that way. What he should be saying is asking him, the city wants to take this for affordable housing. Do you want to sell? Yes or no? And he said, and let's say he says no. Then you say, okay, what are you going to do to fight the city? Now the whole tenor of this conversation becomes, and the story is respect and admiration. That's the direction you're going. You want people to respect and admire this man instead of feeling sorry for him. And you don't want to feel sorry for this guy because this is a benevolent universe. Success is to be expected. And so there's no reason to feel sorry for people. Back in a minute. Thank you. And now, what does the phrase, if you're explaining you're losing, mean in debates? This was said by Ronald Reagan, speaking of political campaigns. From the perspective of your audience, if you have to explain yourself, you come off looking desperate to convince. As a consequence, you lose the high ground. From a more philosophical perspective, when you have a clear conscience and strong conviction towards the positions you take, your values, truth, and direction, you don't need the opinions or consent of others. As a consequence, you don't need to explain yourself. However, if you yourself are not convinced of the validity and truth of your position, or you can't fully justify your choices, then you continue to expel words in an attempt to create the illusion of certainty. Back in a minute. Thank you. And now, Giorgia Maloney.
Sulle spese di difesa, anche qui, il Presidente Conte ha detto ieri che lui non ha sottoscritto l'impegno del 2%. È stato ripetuto anche in quest'Aula. Una firma è una firma, signori. Una firma è una firma. Quella firma è stata messa. Io sono d'accordo con quell'impegno che, come ho già detto ieri, che il Presidente Conte aveva assunto, perché sono sempre stata convinta, ero all'opposizione a quel tempo, e non troverete polemiche da parte della sottoscritta su questo, perché sono sempre stata convinta che noi avessimo necessità di rafforzare la nostra difesa. E sapete qual è la cosa che non mi torna? L'ho già detto ieri, lo ripeto volentieri. Non mi torna che gli stessi che dicono che noi non dobbiamo aumentare le spese in difesa poi parlano anche di subalternità agli americani. Signori, le due cose non stanno insieme. L'Europa occidentale è stata subalterna agli americani ed è stata subalterna agli americani perché noi abbiamo chiesto agli americani di occuparsi della nostra sicurezza. E poiché io non voglio essere subalterna a nessuno, credo che noi dobbiamo occuparci della nostra sicurezza, perché la tua sicurezza è la tua sovranità, la tua difesa è la capacità di difendere i tuoi interessi nazionali. E quando lo fai lo devi fare seriamente. Perché sì, Presidente Conte ha sottoscritto questo impegno, dopodiché ha ritenuto io lo sottoscrivo, ma non lo rispetto. Non è il mio modo di fare. Non è il mio modo di fare e penso che sia anche quello che per lungo tempo ha fatto percepire l'Italia come una nazione non affidabile. Voglio che l'Italia oggi sia una nazione affidabile. Grazie.
And that was the Prime Minister of Italy. Back in a minute. Thank you. And now from a book that's called Good Inside. What's the opposite of understanding? For this argument's sake, it's convincing. Convincing is the attempt to prove a singular reality, to prove that only one thing is true. Convincing is an attempt to be right, and as a result make the other person wrong. It rests on the assumption that there's only one correct viewpoint. And then my question is this supposed to be convincing? Further, convincing has one goal in mind, being right. And here's the unfortunate consequence of being right. The other person feels unseen and unheard, at which point most people become infuriated and combative, because it feels as if the other person does not accept your realness or worth. Feeling unseen and unheard makes connection impossible. Understanding two things are true and convincing one thing is true are diametrically opposed ways of approaching other people, so a powerful first step in any interaction is to notice which mode you're in. When you're in one thing is true mode, you're judgmental of and reactive to someone else's experience because it feels like an assault on your own truth. As a result, you will seek to prove your own point of view, which in turn makes the other person defensive because they need to uphold the realness of their experience. In one thing is true mode, exchanges escalate quickly. Each person thinks they're arguing about the content of the conversation when in fact they're trying to defend that they are a real, worthy person with a real, truthful experience. And again, is this convincing? Back in a minute. Thank you. And now, psychopolitics.
13. Idiotism. In his 1980 course on Spinoza, Deleuze observed, "To the letter, I'd say they play the fool. Ils font les idiots." Play the fool. Playing the fool. That's always been one function of philosophy. One of the roles of philosophy is to play the fool, or idiot. From its inception, philosophy has been closely tied to idiotism. Every philosopher who has brought forth a new idiom, a new language, a new way of thinking, has necessarily been an idiot. Only the idiot has access to the wholly other. Idiotism discloses a field of immanence of events and singularities for thought. This field eludes subjectivation and psychologization altogether. The history of philosophy is a history of idiotisms. Socrates knows only that he does not know. He is an idiot. Likewise, Descartes, who casts doubt on everything, is an idiot. Cogito ergo sum is idiotic. It takes an inner contraction of thinking to make a new beginning possible. Descartes thinks by thinking thought, das Denken denkt. By relating only to itself, thought regains a virginal state. Deleuze places the Cartesian idiot in opposition to an idiot of another kind. The old idiot wanted indubitable truths at which he could arrive by himself. In the meantime, he would doubt everything. The new idiot has no wish for indubitable truths. He wills the absurd. This is not the same image of thought. The old idiot wanted truth, but the new idiot wants to turn the absurd into the highest power of thought. Today, it seems, the type of the outsider, the idiot, the fool, has all but vanished from society. Thoroughgoing digital networking and communication have massively amplified the compulsion to conform. The attendant violence of consensus is suppressing idiotisms. Barton Strauss pinpoints the difference between contemporary conformism and bourgeois convention of old. For him, the idiot, it's as if everyone else were speaking in subtle attunement with each other, brought down to the most agreeable level. Verträglichsten Stimmungsgrad. This is a far more implacable convention than any convention known before in bourgeois times. The idiot is idiosyncratic. Literally, idiosyncrasy refers to a specific and peculiar mixture of the body's humors and the oversensitivity this entails. When communication is to be accelerated, idiosyncrasy poses an obstacle, inasmuch as it amounts to an immunological defense against the other. Idiosyncrasy stands in the way of unbounded communicative exchange. Accordingly, immunosuppression is necessary for acceleration to proceed. But now, immune responses are subjected to massive suppression so that information will circulate faster and capital will accelerate. Communication achieves maximum velocity when the same reacts to the same. In contrast, the resistance and recalcitrance of otherness, of foreignness, troubles and impedes the smooth communication of the same. In the inferno of the same, communication attains its highest speed. In light of compulsive and coercive communication and conformism, idiotism represents a practice of freedom. By nature, the idiot is unallied, unnetworked, and uninformed. The idiot inhabits the immemorial outside, which escapes communication and networking altogether. The idiot spins about like a plucked rose in the whirling river of single-minded people, people in consent, those who have been incorporated and belong to a wondrous common understanding. The idiot is a modern-day heretic. Etymologically, heresy means choice. Thus, the heretic is one who commands free choice, the courage to deviate from orthodoxy. As a heretic, the idiot represents a figure of resistance, opposing the violence of consensus. The idiot preserves the magic of the outsider. Today, in light of increasingly coercive conformism, it is more urgent than ever to heighten heretical consciousness. Idiotism stands opposed to the neoliberal power of domination, total communication, and total surveillance. The idiot does not communicate. Indeed, he communicates with the incommunicable. As such, the idiot veils himself in silence. Idiotism erects spaces for guarding silence, Freiräume des Schweigens, quiet and solitude, where it is still possible to say what really deserves to be said. Deleuze already called for such a politics of silence in 1995. He directed it against neoliberal psychopolitics, which forces communication and disclosure. It's not a problem of getting people to express themselves, but of providing little gaps of solitude and silence in which they might eventually find something to say. Repressive forces don't stop people from expressing themselves, but rather force them to express themselves. What a relief to have nothing to say, the right to say nothing, because only then is there a chance of framing the rare and even rarer thing that might be worth saying. The idiot savant has access to knowledge of a different order. He raises himself above the horizontal plane, above merely being informed and networked. The term idiot savant, as the autistic first were called, should perhaps be freed up and used for those adventurers who are not simply tied to one another, but to something else. Für jene Abenteurer, die anders verbunden sind als nur untereinander. Idiotism opens up virginal space, forging the distance required by thought so that speaking may occur in an entirely different manner. The idiot savant lives from the far away, like a stylite. Vertical tension enables him to find higher agreement, receptivity to events, broadcasts, Sendungen from the future. Stylite, pillar dweller, antenna. The waves of the overflowing message generate in the mouth of the holy man the same noise, Rauschen, as the faint signals the idiot receives from the world. Intelligence means choosing between, interleggere. It is not entirely free, insofar as it is caught in a between, which depends on the system in operation. Intelligence has no access to outside, because it makes a choice between options in a system. Therefore, intelligence does not really exercise free choice. It can only select among the offerings the system affords. Intelligence follows the logic of a system. It is system immanent. A given system defines a given intelligence. Accordingly, intelligence has no access to what is wholly other. It inhabits a horizontal plane. In contrast, the idiot has contact with the vertical dimension, inasmuch as he takes leave of the prevailing system, that is, abandons intelligence. The inside of idiocy is delicate and transparent, like a dragonfly's wing. It glistens with intelligence that has been overcome. Note, in his treatise on idiocy, Clément Rosset explicitly distinguishes stupidity, sottise, from unintelligence, inintelligence. In so doing, he ascribes a creative potential to stupidity. Stupidity is generally assimilated to unintelligence, which is deemed the opposite of intelligence. This means opposing attentive, nimble, and alert intelligence to stupidity, which is understood as sluggish, anesthetic, and mummified. In fact, there is nothing so attentive, nimble, and alert as stupidity. Boundless openness and receptivity distinguish stupidity, whereas lack of intelligence means limitation. Unintelligence is poor in experience. It has no access to the event. Unintelligence closes doors. It signals that certain paths of approach to such or such knowledge are prohibited, thereby narrowing the field of experience. In contrast, stupidity opens on to everything. It makes anything at all into an object of notice and possible engagement. It is a calling, or better, a priesthood, with its idols, officiants, and faithful. End note. In his final work, Pure Immanence, Essays on a Life, Deleuze elevates immanence to a formula for beatitude. We will say of pure immanence that it is a life and nothing else. It is not immanence to life, but the immanent that is in nothing is itself a life. A life is the immanence of immanence, absolute immanence. It is complete power, complete bliss. Immanence is something immanent that is in nothing because it does not occur in something else. It exists only in itself. As such, it is the immanence of immanence. It is subject to nothing. Rather, it is self-sufficient. No order of domination can be erected on this level of life's immanence. Immanenzebene des Lebens. In contrast, capital manifests itself as transcendence. It estranges life from itself. Immanence as life suspends this alienating relationship. Pure immanence is the void, which can neither be psychologized nor subjectivized. Immanent life is lighter and richer, indeed freer, for such emptiness. The idiot is not defined by individuality or subjectivity, but by singularity. As such, the idiot is similar in nature to the child, who is not yet an individual, not yet a person. The child's existence is not determined by individual qualities, so much as impersonal events. For example, very small children all resemble one another and have hardly any individuality. But they have singularities, a smile, a gesture, a funny face, not subjective qualities. Small children, through all their sufferings and weaknesses, are infused with an immanent life that is pure power and even bliss. The idiot is like Deleuze's homo tantum, one who no longer has a name, though he can be mistaken for no other. The sphere of immanence to which the idiot gains admittance is the matrix of desubjectivation and depsychologization. It is negativity, wresting the subject out of itself and liberating it into the immensity of an empty time. The idiot does not exist as a subject. He is more like a flower, an existence simply open to light.
And that was Chapter 13, Idiotism, by Byung-Chul Han in Psychopolitics, Neoliberalism and New Technologies of Power. Back in a minute. This is Ron, your host, the only true conservative in the United States today, bidding adios to all the butchers, bakers, and candlestick makers out there, and reminding you that you are not neutral and that the government has no rights.